Okay, guys, let's get stuck into today's lesson. Hi, everyone. Okay, so if you're watching this on the replay, what we're going to be looking at in this lesson is time signatures. There was quite a few students this week who sent me stuff about irregular and compound time signatures, so I want to sort of cover all of it. So this will go right from the very beginning of what time signatures are in music, right the whole way through to like more advanced stuff. Okay, but if you guys, if there's anyone who's watching the video live in YouTube, then yeah, you're more than welcome to type away into the chat if there's any particular questions you want me to go through instead. And I might actually change the background color. Didn't realize that was blue. Sorry. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. So yeah, feel free as usual, guys. Type away in the chat if there's anything that you want. And also, hopefully my mic is okay. I'm just going to check my levels while we're here. I should still be talking at this point. Sorry about that. Okay. So yeah, okay. Yeah, let's go, well. Makes a change. Radio. So time signatures, guys. If I just share my screen, just a few wee handouts just to show you and why this is important as well. We'll be going over all of that about why do you want to know about time signatures. This is especially relevant to any of you guys who play Irish traditional music. You may just know it as, you know, jigs, reels, hornpipes, polkas, slides, slip jigs, you know, marches. Everything you're talking about there involves a different time signature, and how you feel the time signature, how you feel the beat, how you feel the rhythm, greatly influences your accompaniment, and also being able to join in without asking somebody, you know, what are we playing? You should be able to, after a while, just instantly recognize the difference between like a strathspey and a hornpipe and a reel, even though they all may share the same time signature. So you need to understand time signatures first, and that will help you or understand the sort of rhythms that are built into them. And also for any of you guys who happen to be doing music theory as an exam, so like grade 5 and grade 4, there's a lot of time signatures to know, and most students tend to do the grade 5 music theory exam because they need that if they want to progress to grade 6, 7 and 8 on their instrument if they're doing the ABRSM board. If you're doing the London College of Music or the Trinity Board or the Royal Irish Academy of Music, you probably don't have to worry too much about theory exams. I would still seriously recommend that you do understand music theory. If you're going to be doing like advanced grades in any instrument, it's kind of a wee bit silly not understanding anything about music theory. You kind of need to know what you're seeing in front of you when you're learning it. And it'll improve your sight reading and your understanding and comprehension of the music itself. So it works not just for trad musicians. It's going to be important for music theory students as well, and also anyone who's learning classical music. So there's a whole broad range of reasons why you'd want to learn about time signatures. When I'm teaching music theory, even to my grade 1 students, although they don't stay grade 1 for very long, most of the time when I'm teaching them, I'll say there's kind of 2 main branches in music theory that you should know. One involves the sharp rule and the flat rule for key signatures, which check out my website. There's a couple of blogs that I've got up there, blog posts about all this. And that's crucial to be able to understand things like scales, key signatures, intervals, chords, chord progressions. All of that is based off of just a couple of wee rules. But the other side of it is time signatures. So time signatures is kind of like the other half that will deal with things like compound time, simple time, converting from compound time into simple time, irregular time signatures, bars, where to put the bar lines for particular questions like that, how to group notes correctly, you know. Okay, so if we just have a look-see then at the desktop, just to show you some of the stuff. Okay, so why is it important then? Like I was talking about grouping and stuff. Why would you want to really worry about time signatures and note grouping? Well, imagine trying to read even just this sentence And imagine that there's no punctuation, there's no full stop, and there's no spacing between the words. It'd be really difficult, or at least more difficult, to read it that way. So when you're reading off of a page, if you're reading the English language, or any language, you want to know where to begin. You want to know how things are organized, line after line, moving from left to right on the page, and then onto the second line, moving from left to right. So linear top to bottom, left to right, and also separating how do you know where one word begins and one word ends? That's all mixed into music as well, except we just call it different things like note grouping, bar lines, time signatures to organize things. So it's kind of like the fundamentals of music. So it was just one student was asking me, why do I need to know this? And it sort of caught me off guard, but because I was thinking, yeah, it's a good question. No one's ever asked, why? Why do you need to know something? You just kind of, as a teacher, you kind of after a while just take it for granted that, yeah, you do need to know this stuff. So it is the equivalent in music, guys, of, knowing your times tables for simple mathematics, knowing your alphabet for simple languages, knowing how a music is organized is crucial. And time signatures do that for us. So time signatures allow us, as it says here, to organize music to regular units called beats. That's it. Okay, so feeling the beat, that thing you would sort of click your fingers to, clap your hands to, or stomp your feet to, or dance to, you need to feel the beat. And the beat is usually determined by the time signature. Okay, a time signature consists of two numbers written one above the other, placed after the clef. Now the clef, for simple music theory, the clef is just letting you know how high or low pitches are on the music staff. Okay, so if you're using the treble clef, you're talking about the higher notes, and if you're using the bass clef, you're talking about the lower notes. We've just got loads and loads of treble clefs here, as you can see. So we're really just don't really care about the pitch. We're really caring more about the note rhythms and the beats and the pulse. Okay, so don't worry too much about the pitches in this particular lesson. Okay, so a time signature consists of two numbers, one written above the other, placed after the clef, always come after. Below are some of the most popular types of time signatures that are used in music. Yeah, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 6/8, 9/8, 12/8. If you're learning trad music, these 2/4s are all your polkas, your marches. Your 3/4s are like your waltzes and mazurkas. Yeah, that type of like sort of triple time. 4/4s are all your reels, your hornpipes, your strathspeys. Barn dances as well can be in there. 6/8 is your jigs and your double jigs and single jigs, and some marches as well, actually. 9/8 is all your slip jigs or hop jigs. If you're using the old O'Neill's, they're sometimes called hop jigs in that book, O'Neill's 1001 Dance Tunes. And 12/8 are your slides. Okay, so yeah, you can see that it's very similar in classical music, guys, when you're dealing with things like Baroque dance music. There's lots of Baroque dances from 1600 to 1750 time periods. 1600 to the year 1750 was the Baroque period, and that's all heavily influenced by dances of the day. And I would say the vast majority of music from Irish traditional music comes from that period, or at least is based from tunes that come from that period. I would be surprised if there's many sort of dance tunes in modern Irish traditional music which come from like the Renaissance period. Very few. Maybe some of the old harp tunes, which aren't really dance tunes. So I think a lot of our dance music is influenced by this because it's structurally the same. There's two parts, A and B. The high part is in the B section. Both parts are repeated. There's loads of different time signatures for different type of dances. Everything I just said could be for trad music, Irish traditional music, and it can be for Baroque music as well. So the chances are there's quite a lot of overlap there. Okay, so these are the ones that we want to know first. 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 6/8, 9/8, and 12/8. What do these mean? Why is it important and what do they mean? Let's take probably the most popular one, 4/4, without a doubt. If you listen to any sort of pop music today, any pop music, when I say pop, I just mean popular. I don't mean like, the pop style pop. And when trad musicians or classical musicians or jazz musicians say pop, it just means anything that's not classical, trad, or jazz. So when I say pop music, it's everything from Metallica to Britney Spears to Coldplay to Radiohead to Elvis, to whatever, Taylor Swift, popular music. Okay, so it's thousands of different genres are under that umbrella term of popular music. About 99% of them are in 4/4 time. Yeah, so it is really important that you know 4/4. It's like the standard. Okay, so 4/4 is the most popular time signature. The top number tells us the number of beats in the bar. So obviously there's 4 beats, 2, 3, 4 that we're looking for. And the bottom number is going to tell us what type of beats, but we'll just look at what we mean by bar and bar lines when it comes to writing all this stuff down. A bar is the space on the staff being the lines that you see going from left to right here. The staff, 5 lines and 4 spaces. So a bar separates that into regular sort of spaces. Okay, so the bar is just the space on a staff that contains all your notes and rests in the music, really. Bars are separated from one another by bar lines. So you can see the bar lines here going top down, which are vertical lines drawn through the staff to divide the music into regular metrical units. Okay, so you've got the bar is the space, and each bar is separated by a bar line. Okay, so when you're talking about 4/4, you're talking about 4 beats within each of those bars. Okay, now you don't know what type of beats yet, you just know there's 4 somethings in each bar. What are the somethings? That's what the bottom number tells you. So the bottom number tells us the type of beats that are in the bar. For all time signatures, if the bottom number is 4, it signifies crotchets. Now, this is where I agree that the American system is far better at describing music theory than the Irish and British system. We use terms like crotchets, and the other European countries have their own sort of translations for crotchets, quavers, minims that we use, because we're all basing it off, old manuscripts from medieval Europe, written in various dialects of Latin and, by monks from all over the place. So there's hundreds of different terms that were used. The Americans have a brilliant way of just simplifying it all down and having it actually make more sense. They call crotchets quarter notes. Far better term for it, I think. I prefer that. But I was taught using crotchets, minims, quavers, that type of thing. So anytime I say crotchets, guys, in any of my videos, if you're in America, just take that to mean, I'll try and remember to say quarter notes afterwards, but I sometimes forget. So 4/4, I would think it was 4 crotchets. Our Americans would think of it as 4 quarter notes, which makes far more sense when you look at the bottom number. A lot of young students, especially very young students, will ask me, why is crotchet worth 4? Who decided that? And then you have to tell them, well, it's because it's worth a quarter of the longest note that we use, which is the semi-breve. And then you get to start getting into murky territory. So, well, that still doesn't answer the question about why is it, who decided the crotchet is equal to 4. And semi-breve isn't the longest note because the word suggests there's a breve, and there's a longer note than the semi-breve. So it gets a wee bit silly when you're saying, well, it's worth a quarter of something. And who decided that was why are we picking the semi-breve as the be-all and end-all of notes? So yeah, it's easier then just to think of it as quarter notes, I think. So when it comes to time signatures, guys, I would kind of ditch crotchets and quavers in your mind and just think of them as 4 quarter notes in the bar. And that's what they look like here. You can actually see the example above here is in 4/4 time. You have 1 crotchet, 2 crotchet, 3 crotchets. The 2 quavers added together will get you another crotchet. Or to think of it better, 1 quarter note, another quarter note, another quarter note, and 2 eighth notes to add it together. Get you the other remaining quarter note for that bar. 4 quarter notes in the bar. So that rhythm would be bum, 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 da da dum, 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 da da dum, 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 da da. Okay. And the same with the next bar, 3 crotchets plus another 2 quavers, or 3 quarter notes plus 2 eighth notes. Dum, dum, bum, ba, ba. And the last bar is just 4 crotchets or 4 quarter notes on their own. Dum, 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 dum. So this rhythm is very simple. Most of it is just crotchets or quarter notes and a couple of eighth notes thrown in. Yeah, so the American crotchets, quarter notes, because they're worth a quarter of the longest note we use in music, semi-breve. Americans call that the whole note. Yeah, it makes more sense now. You have your whole note, minims would be half notes, crotchets would be quarter notes, quavers are eighth notes, semi-quavers are 16th notes, and so on and so on. We don't really even go further beyond 30-second notes, which we would call demi-semi-quavers in Britain and Ireland. And it starts becoming stupid after that, like hemi-demi-semi-quavers and semi-hemi-demi-semi-quavers and so on and so on and so on. And you're just having hemi-demi-semi, hemi-demi-semi, hemi-demi-semi. You know, it's silly. Half of a half of a half of a half of a half, which is what you're really saying. Whereas when you're talking about quarter notes, eighth notes, 16, 32, you can see the relationship between those far easier, I think. Yeah, it's easy to see the relationship between these American descriptions of notes and then the bottom number in time signatures. So some students will sometimes forget, you know, what does 6/8 mean? What does 3/4 mean? What does 2/4 mean? Whereas I find that when I'm teaching American students, they remember that far easier because the way they describe it is also the way that it's written. Whereas when you're describing it as 4 crotchets, you have to remember another thing that the bottom number 4 means crotchets. Yeah, so that's a little bit trickier, I think. Oh, let me just check. My audio just went a wee bit boop there. Whereas when you're describing it as 4, oh yeah, that's okay, actually. My audio just had a click. Okay. So that's the basics, absolute basics of time signatures there, guys. There's really not much more to it than that. Okay. If I was to give you some examples of it, and actually I'll activate the piano while we're here. Let me see. I can get this piano to work a wee minute. I actually just don't even need that. I'm just going to do this. Okay. 2 crotchet beats in the bar. Well, yes, 2/4. You can see crotchet, crotchet, crotchet. 2 quavers gets us the other crotchet. 4 quavers in this bar, and you can even see how they're grouped and how they're beamed together. They're beamed together according to their beats. Yeah, so you have 1 here. Oh, sorry. 1 beat here, 2 beats here, 2 beat here. First beat for this bar, second beat starts here, and sometimes you would write 1, 2, and some of the old theory books, they used to get you to write out the counts for each beat. And as you can see, it's 1 and 2 and yeah. Dotted notes, if you add a dot after a note, that's worth half of the previous note or half of whatever it's attached to. So this crotchet is worth 1. And then the second beat actually begins on that dot because that's where the quaver is. And then the other half of the beat is over here. So it's 1, 2, and 1, 2, and bum, 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 bum. So that's a kind of a more advanced rhythm than these ones. And then the very last one is the most complicated one. 1 E and that's how we used to write that. So 4 semiquavers is equal to 1 crotchet. And then you have your second crotchet. So 2/4 all the way through here. It's going to be a quite unusual melody, but it doesn't really matter. So it would probably be better if I put in like a B flat, maybe. Yeah, it's better. Even though it doesn't say B flat, I'm just going to put it in because it feels like it's in F major. Starts in F major anyway. Okay, so 1, 2, and 1, 2, so those last 2 bars are a bit more advanced in the beginning, but as long as every bar adds up to 2 crotchets, you can make them as advanced or as difficult as you like. So not every bar is going to be just 2 crotchets. You have every combination of quavers and semiquavers and rests and dotted notes and ties you can imagine. The only note that you probably will not see are things like dotted minims and semi-breves, because they're just worth too much. You know, you're not going to see a dotted minim in 2/4 because it's worth 3 beats, and you can only have 2 in a bar. So, but if you wanted a note to last that long, what you would need to draw would be something like a minim tied over to a crotchet. And if you add that together, that would be equal to 3 beats. But of course, you still need to have your bar line there. So imagine you have just one big long note for this bar tied over. It's a bit of a poor tie. Tied over to this crotchet. Then yeah, technically it'll sound like 3 beats, but it's spread across more than one bar, of course. It needs to be. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all of them, guys. It's just to let you know that there is... you know, the same principles are going to apply across all time signatures. So 3 crotchets in a bar, 4 crotchets in a bar. Those are the most popular time signatures, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. The vast majority of grade 1, grade 2, and even grade 3 pieces are in those time signatures. They start introducing more advanced keys and time signatures in the later grades. Okay, so like 6/8, for example, we'll be seeing that as well. 9/8 and 12/8. Yeah, so we'll see the compound time ones. We'll do those next, I think. Okay. So I'm just going to stop here. And remember to come back here, because anything with a 6 or a 9 or a 12 in the top is different. Okay, so we'll come back to that. Okay. So for simple time, let me just move this over so that my head isn't blocking it. These are all the time signatures, or at least the vast majority of the time signatures that you'll ever use. There's other ones like 16 note or 16 values per bar, but really you only go as far practically as 8. You can have 16, okay? Like for grade 5, it's introduced, I think, in some of the time signatures there. It's like, you know, 6, 16, that type of thing. But for simple time, 2, 4, or 2, 4, and 8 tend to be your main values. So minims, crotchets, quavers. If you wanted semi-quavers, if you wanted 3 semi-quavers in a bar, it's possible. You know, you just write 3/16 in a bar. Okay, but these are the ones that tend to be mostly used, I think. Especially this middle one, guys. This is probably, I would say, the vast majority of pieces that you'll ever learn or want to learn are in that red box. 2, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4. 2 crotchet beats, 3 crotchet beats, and 4 crotchet beats in a bar. All of these are simple time signatures. Everything you see on the page is a simple time signature. Okay, the easy way to remember that is just anything with a 2, 3, or 4 in the top line is a simple time signature. So anything with a 2, anything with a 3, or anything with a 4 is a simple time signature. It's simple in that you can take those beats and split them into 2 equal parts. Okay, so that's another important thing to remember for simple time signatures. It's the essence for simple time signatures. Anything that can be split into 2 equal parts is going to be simple. So 2, 4, for example, yes, it's equal to 2 crotchets in the bar, but you could split each crotchet into 2 quavers, or you could split each quarter note into 2 eighth notes. Okay, so that's what makes it simple. Same logic applies for 3, 4, or even 3, 8. That's a simple time signature, although for some students that looks more like compound time. But 3, 8 is simple because it has a 3 at the top, and each one of those quaver beats can be split into 2 semiquavers, or each one of those eighth note beats can be split into 16th notes, 2 16th notes. Okay, so yeah, all of that is what is shared, the sort of common characteristics of all simple time signatures. You could also call it simple duple, simple triple, or simple quadruple. So simple duple is just not only can the beats be split into 2, but there's 2 of them per bar. Okay, so that's what makes it duple. Simple triple, every beat can be split into 2 equal parts, but there's 3 of those beats in the bar. So 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 8. And simple quadruple is, again, any beat can be split into 2, but there's 4 beats in the bar. So 4, 2, 4, 4, 4, 8. Okay. And the easiest one to take from each of those, I think, is in the middle. 2, 4 for simple duple, 3, 4 for simple triple, and 4, 4 for simple quadruple. Yeah, so if you learn like 1 from each, then you've got it for all of them. Anything with a 2, 3, or 4 in the top. Okay, that's simple time signatures. What about compound time? This is where it starts getting a little bit trickier for students when you get into like the grade 3, grade 4, especially grade 4, grade 5. Things do sort of kick up a notch from simple time into compound time. Now, the thing to remember about compound time, guys, is that it's never what you expect when you're talking about them. It's not as it's written. There's an extra step you've got to take in your mind when you're thinking about compound time. Okay, so how do we know that we're in compound time? Let's zoom in. Anything with a 6, 9, or 12 on the top, anything at all, is compound time. So 6, 4, 6, 8, and there's our 16, 6, 16. Yeah, those are all the most common type of compound times. And the ones in the middle are the ones, again, that you should absolutely memorize because they're the most popular. Okay, 6, 8 for single jigs and double jigs, 9, 8 for slip jigs or hop jigs, and 12, 8 for slides if you're doing trap music. Yeah, so what makes them compound? Each beat can be split into 3 equal parts. And this is, as I said, this is where it gets a little bit complicated, as you'd expect for compound time. When we were talking about in the previous page on simple time signatures, if we take like 2, 4, it really is what you expect when you describe it. 2, 4, 2 crotchets or 2 quarter notes per bar. Okay. It doesn't necessarily mean 2 quarter beats per bar, but that's how most students interpret it. You know, it's 2 beats per bar. You're better thinking of it as just 2 crotchet notes per bar. And yes, each one of those is a beat. 1, 2, 1, 2. Simple, easy to remember. 2 beats in the bar. When it comes to compound time, not so much, unfortunately. So let's take 6, 8 for this example. 6, 8 does not mean 6 quaver beats per bar. It just means 6 quavers per bar. That's all. Not quaver beats. You don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only 2 beats in the bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you should be able to feel it and hear it on the first and fourth quavers of the bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so there's only 2 of those beats in the bar, and each of them can be split into 3 equal parts. This is what makes it compound. And you can take any beat. It doesn't have to be dotted crotchet beats. It could be any beat. And you can split it into 3 equal parts. Then yes, it's going to be compound time. Okay, so that's all your jigs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in fact, if I bring up the Polly the Parrot thing that I used with my students, if I can remember, there it is. Let me see if we can find it. If I can, hopefully this actually comes through. I never checked to see, does this work with you guys? Let's see. I'm going to see if that come. This so happens to be in 68. That's good. Maybe listen. Let me see if we can find it. If I can, hopefully this actually comes through. I never checked to see, does this work with you guys? I'm here. Let's see. I'm going to see if that. Yeah, it is. This so happens to be in 68. That's good. Maybe listen. Let me see. Yeah, 20 seconds behind myself. Okay. Yeah, okay, so it definitely is coming through. So I'm just going to slow it down a wee bit. Doesn't have to be that quick. So you can see here that I've just organized this whole page here. The green is 2 beats. The one in blue is just the start of each bar. Imagine this whole square, sorry, this whole rectangle. Imagine this whole rectangle as just 1 bar. Okay, so you have 2 beats in the bar, and each of them can be split into 3 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if you wanted 2 beats per bar, but only each beat could be split into 2 equal beats, then this is going to be 2, 4. I haven't changed the tempo. All I've done is take each beat and split it into 2 equal parts. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and I'm going to add the 3 back in. 3 equal parts. 1, 2, so that would be 6, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. I wonder if I'm in time with myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see. You guys are my guinea pigs. So that would be 6, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. I wonder if I'm in time with myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Usually when I do this over Zoom, you can imagine the delay. It's not very good. I have to sort of anticipate where the beat is. So Zoom's fun. But YouTube's got its act together when it comes to sort of syncing things up. I would actually prefer if Zoom did the same thing. If Zoom just delayed all of my videos by like 20-30 seconds and synced it all up, that would be brilliant. But for some reason they try to push it so it all comes as close together as possible. So if you've ever been in a Zoom call and you're trying to, like, you know, rehearse with other musicians or sing together or play together, you'll know how difficult that is because everyone's out of sync. Whereas in YouTube, if everything was delayed, that's why YouTube delays everything, to give audio and video time to sync up. So yeah, it should hopefully, if it ever goes out of time, let me know, guys. Do let me know if there's like a delay. Or I might have synced with myself. Okay, so this is again our 6, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ba, 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 ba. Now let's see how complicated I can make this. I'm just going to go into tin whistle for a second and really turn up the tin whistle. Let's see if I turn that up. Testing 1, 2. There we go. Now let's see if I can play a jig. See if this actually comes out. Let me see if that's in sync. You have to get in there quick. Oh yeah. I'm delighted with that. I'm not delighted with my playing, but I'm delighted at least that it's in time. That's brilliant. Okay, good. Yay. That makes it so much easier to describe for you guys. Okay, so that's our jig. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Really hurt my fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm probably trying to click too much. I'll go back into the actual. No, I'll stick with this for a wee second. I just have to click louder, so I can't hear it. So I'm really clicking. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ba 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 ba. Now, if we swap it over to 4. And see, can we 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. That's our polkas. Okay. Let's see if we can keep in time this time. Should feel far more regular. Simple time. 2/4. 1 2 1 2 1 and 2 and 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 I should be in time with the green. 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 What about together? Yeah. It's fun when I try to get students to do this. You can try this. So for any of you guys watching, or for anyone actually who's going to be watching this in the replays, try doing this trick if you can. Wherever you're sitting, even if you're just sitting with just nothing but hands and knees, or just on the table in front of you, or even with clicking, if you can click your fingers, try doing 2 beats on one hand against 3 in the other. Now, unless you have like a pattern already in your mind, that's quite difficult to do. But I'm going to let you guys hear 2 first of all against 3. And if you're able to do that, you're going to get a sense of compound in one hand versus simple in the other, I suppose. So here would be 2. 1 2 and 3. Bum, ba, ba, bum, ba. 1 2 3 1 2 3. It's still 56 beats per minute. It doesn't change. Okay, so it's still the same. So every minute you're going to hear that blue thing 56 times. Yeah, probably. If I moved it up a wee bit faster, so you have it here every second. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. So that's 1 beat per minute. 1 beat per second, 60 beats per minute. Okay, so that's 3. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 1 2 1 2. So it's still 60. Hasn't changed. Bum 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 1 2. So it should be something like, or in dum bum 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 bum. If you can focus on one and then bring the other in, that would be the trick. Can you do like focus on one and then focus on the other? Count it out so you have 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1. It's quite tricky to do. Drum players, you guys will find this really, really ridiculously easy. Some of you guys will be doing far more complicated polyrhythms than that, like 7 against 6 or something, or maybe 6 against 5, or even the more difficult ones like like 11 or beats per bar, or that type of thing, 19 beats per bar, where it gets really sort of complicated. But for most of you guys, especially doing for trad and for early classical, baroque and classical style music, you will not need to know those extremely irregular time signatures. For grade 5 students, you do need to know a little bit about the 5/4 and the 7/4. It's 5 beats per bar and 7 beats per bar. The irregular time signatures. They're outside of simple and compound time. Okay? You could actually maybe think of it as like a combination of both, like 2 plus 3 gives you the 5. So think of it maybe simple plus compound will give you an irregular. Can you have 2 plus 3 beats in the bar, or 3 plus 2 beats in the bar? Is it like 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3, or is it the other way around? 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2. In order to give it some sort of cohesiveness and make it more easy to listen to, irregular time signatures tend to have a lot of repeated patterns throughout them. So there's like a repeated bass line or a repeated drum rhythm or something that's just like an ostinato, like a repeating pattern in the background that never goes away. I've found that quite regular in a lot of like jazz stuff and a lot of modern pop music that uses irregular time signatures. There's always something to keep the beat regular and more, or to keep the beat memorable and understandable. It's not regular. It's irregular, but it's understandable if you have a repeating patterning in that. So if you have that, how does, if I could find the sheet music actually too, yeah, this would be fun, doing this on the fly. Why not put yourself under pressure, Declan, and try and learn a 5/4 piano thing? Just do take 5. I can't remember the Dave Brubeck sheet music, hopefully. Let me see. I don't want to share anything that could be copyrighted, but so what is it? Oh, brilliant, Declan. It's an E flat minor. Why not? So. Yeah, that's it. I need a saxophone player or somebody. You hear that rhythm the whole way through. It's in 5/4, so it's 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. Da dum da dum bum bum da dum bum bum. That little bum bum at the end of each bar brings some regularity to it. And I've even seen modern scores written in such a way that it looks like 3/4 for one bar, 2/4 for the next, 3/4 2/4 3/4 2/4 3/4 2/4. Rather than writing it in 5/4, it's better to write it in 5/4. The piece is called Take 5. You know, it's meant to be 5/4. So if you ever heard that piece, that's a great wee one to learn. If you're a piano player, especially. Or if you're just wanting to try it for the crack for your instrument, it's the I can't play it for copyright reasons, unfortunately. Yep, so that's going to be your irregular time signatures that we'll come to later on. Getting way back, let's rewind back to compound time. Compound time signatures, yes. Being able to split it into 3 equal parts. We looked at 6/8 there, but it could have been 9/8 that I did. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. I'm just gonna put this is the last one, I swear, on the whistle, and then we'll get back into the proper microphone. So if it was something like let me see. Okay, that's a slip jig. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. You would never think of that as like as a waltz. Actually, did that come out? Let me just check that. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. Yeah, okay, it kind of does come out. I'm actually surprised that microphone works. So what I'll do is I'm just going to swap back over to my proper mic. Take the tin whistle one off. There we go. Okay, back into normality. Yeah, we are. Okie doke. Let's see. Let's zoom out a wee smidge in here just so we can see a wee bit more about it. So yeah, 6/8 and 9/8. I played a tune. What did I play? The Kess jig? I think it was the Kess jig, and I can't remember. It's not Kid on the Mountain. It's the other one. Oh, the Chieftains do this a brilliant version of this. I can't remember that name of the slip jig, guys. Sorry. If I do remember it, I'll write it in the comments underneath after the video is published. So apologies, I can't remember it offhand. You just make me think maybe there's an app for that. TunePal might help. Would this hear me? Let me see. Yeah, this will be interesting. We're trying everything on the fly today. Yeah, let's try loop back and let's try bringing our thing back in for a second, just to make sure that TunePal can pick it up. Here we go. I think I may have remembered. It's drops of brandy. I thought, yeah, 90%. Yeah, it is. Yay. Okay, brilliant. Yeah, if we make that a wee bit bigger. Yeah, you can see 9/8 there. And you can actually see, if we zoom in even further, how everything is grouped. The beat is grouped into 3 notes. Ba 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 ba. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ba 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 ba. So you do hear 3 beats per bar, but each beat is split into 3. Is there a bit that I missed? No, that's it. Okay. So yeah, hop jig or slip jig. Yeah, great wee app, by the way, guys. If you haven't come across it, TunePal. It's saving my bacon here. I can't remember the name. I thought it was Give Us a Drink of Water, but that's something different again. Drops of brandy. It's always about drink of some description anyway. So yeah, that's great tune. If you don't know it, definitely worth learning. Drops of brandy. I have no idea. Well, it says anonymous. I was going to say I have no idea who wrote it, but maybe nobody does. I don't know. Okay, so just taking that away then, compound time is any beat that can be split into 3 equal parts. So when it comes to compound time, you cannot say what's written in front of you as you can't just take what's written in front of you for granted. You can't say 6/8 is 6 quaver or 6/8 note beats in the bar. It's just 6 quavers in the bar, not 6 quaver beats. Think of it logically as how you would tap your foot. Do that for every time signature and you won't go wrong. That's a tip. Do that for every single time signature. What you'd expect to tap. Try clapping the pulse to it. If it's 2 beats, 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh yeah, that sounds like 2 beats in the bar. 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That feels right. 6/8, you don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll be exhausted after like half a minute. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 beats. Okay? Or 9/8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Or 12/8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's a bit hard to do that full speed. I wonder if Polly can do it. It should be able to. How far does this go up? Quite a lot, actually. Wow. Up to 32. Impressive. What does that sound like? Awful. Okay, let's put it back down to 12. Let's get a slide going. And we'll take out the triple time. It's a wee bit quick. There we go. What would that be? Oh, can I even get that? What's that sound like? There we go. What would that be? It says my audio's maxing out, and it's just a wee click. Okay, we'll muddle through it. See if it hopefully this records. Okay. I'm always worried when I look over at OBS and see like red bars. That's never good. But let's see if we can muddle through this. It's still on chin whistle, so it should be okay. I don't know why it would start to suddenly go really weird. Oh, what was that I was thinking of? Oh my goodness, I have to find a proper slide. All the other ones that I know are. Where would I get a decent slide at that speed? I probably have to slow it down then if I can't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, that's a slip jig, isn't it? Yeah, that's not right. Let's get a proper slide. Why can I not remember any slides? I was trying to think of O'Keefe's slide, and I can't. Oh. Try that again. That's what happens when you have too many things open. O'Keefe. No, okay. Doesn't like it. Are there any slides that come pre in this? A battering ram, canter, reel, slip jig, double jig, reel, jig, hornpipe, slide. Oh, there it is. Okay, so why was that not coming up when I was searching for it? Okay, let me see if what am I doing wrong? I knew it began with an F sharp. Yeah, okay, let's hear it. Here we go. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, I butchered the tune, but at least you get the idea. I wonder what it sounds like actually with the audio inbuilt. It sounds very synthetic, so I won't subject you to that. Okay, so 12 beats in the bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bit more of a bouncy rhythm to the 12, 16 or 12, 8, because you're not really going to fill out all of it with just breaks of quavers or rakes of semi-quavers or rakes of crotches, whatever value you're going to put in. So when you have 6/8, 9/8, and 12/8, 6/8 does tend to be just lots and lots of quavers. 9/8 tends to be lots of quavers with the odd crotchet quaver combo, whereas 12/8 does tend to have far more of the crotchet quaver or quarter note, eighth note combination in the music, because they don't want it too overly melodically and rhythmically complicated. You know, it's just meant to be phrased as 12/8. And also it distinguishes it a wee bit from 6/8. 6/8 does tend to have lots of more of a regular three quaver rhythm. Ba 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 ba. Unless you're doing like single jigs. I find it really tough when I'm listening to trad music to hear the difference between single jigs or slides. Like for me, they sound very similar sometimes because they both you just fit 2 bars of a single jig into 1 bar of a slide, and they both use very similar rhythms. So it's like, what is the actual difference? If you know, let me know. It's always good to share information. Okay, so let's just minimize this. Let's go back to our normal audio. And I promise no more tin whistle. Okay, so yeah, to summarize everything up, it's a wee summary. All the simple and compound times that we looked at. Anything with 2, 3, or 4 beats in the bar, you can think of this as duple, triple, and quadruple. So simple, quadruple, and compound quadruple. So they're both quadruple. The only difference is you're changing the value of the beat. That's all. So 2, 4 literally means as it looks. 2 crotchet beats per bar, 3 crotchet beats per bar for 3, 4, and 4 crotchet beats per bar for 4, 4. But 6/8 does not mean 6 quaver beats or 6/8 notes beats per bar. It just means 6 quavers per bar, and there's only 2 beats. So 6/8 means 2 dotted beats per bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you think about it, it actually makes sense. This is the only way you could actually write the time signature, because if the bottom note means 4, or if the bottom note means crotchet, if 4 means crotchet, a dotted crotchet is worth the same as a crotchet plus a half. But you would never write this as 2 4.5s per bar. You're not going to start to introduce fractions into your time signatures. 2 4.5s per bar, 3 4.5s per bar, or 4 4.5s per bar. So if you can't introduce ridiculous fractions like this 2 4.5s per bar, then you have to go a level deeper into the quaver territory. So 6/8, 6 quavers in a bar. And then they just expect you as musicians to know that that means 2 beats. Okay, so it's not just 2 crotchet beats as let's say, and 6/8 it's going to be 6 quaver beats. 2 crotchet beats, 2 dotted crotchet beats, 3 crotchet beats, 3 dotted crotchet beats, 4 crotchet beats, 4 dotted crotchet beats. So always compare the 2 sides together like that in this little handout here, and you should be okay. Okay. Radio. So that takes care of those 2 handouts, really. We're flying through it. I don't save any changes that I made. I don't know what changes I made, so I'm not going to save them. Okay. Yeah, so there you can see, if I was just to butcher my way through whatever this is not real music, but it's just something in 6/8 to show you what it looks like. Not a real piece of music at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's kind of hard to count the value and sing it at the same pitch and play it at the same time. But it may be worth as a little exercise having a go at doing that, and you should be able to feel the ba 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 with a 6/8 time. And of course 9/8 is just double that, so I'm not going to subject you to whatever that is. It's actually alright, except for that last bar. Sounds a bit weird with the B natural there. Da 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 da. Like a major 7th chord. But a wee bit unusual for that one, for trap music especially. And 12/8, 4 dotted crotchet beats per bar, or if you want to think of it as 4 dotted quarter notes per bar. Yeah, it makes more sense. There we go. There they are. Okay. So I think that more or less takes care of that handout as well. Yeah, we're flying through. I mean, this is as I say, we're probably going through a couple of years worth of music theory here, for grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3. You can go through those grades, guys. I've gotten students up from grade 1 to grade 5 in 5-6 months. And you can do it even quicker than that. I've known teachers to do that over a summer if the student's doing it every single day. I don't recommend it. I recommend taking your time with it, and anything that's, faster than a year, I would question whether you've really taken everything in or you've just skimmed it for the exam. So take your time if you're going through those theory books, and especially the sharp and flat rule, as I say, for all your harmony stuff. So your keys, your scale, well, scales aren't harmony, but for your key signatures, for your scales, for your intervals, for your chords, for chord progressions. And then for the rhythmic aspect of it, it really is to understand time signatures, and the difference there between simple and compound is crucial. And especially you need to be able to be comfortable with the idea that simple time is what it says on the page. When you see 2, 3, or 4 as your top number, happy days. You can just think of what you see. What it says is what it is. When you see 6, 9, or 12, there's a little extra bit of thought you need to put in there and think, right, it's not 6, 9, or 12 beats per bar. It's just that the beats are a bit more complicated because they're compound. So I need to know that 6 of anything is 2 something per bar. 9 of anything is 3 something per bar, and 12 of anything is 4 something per bar. If you just memorize that, you'll be fine. Okay, moving on. Grouping. Yeah, this is one that students hate, so I wish I was drinking something stronger for this. Yeah, grouping. The number one golden rule, guys, just to summarize it all as fast as I could, is just the golden rule for note grouping. How do you know when to group certain notes together and when there's a gap between them, and then group the next notes, lock the notes together? This is the rule. Group according to your beat. You need to know what your beat is. Okay, so group according to your beat. That is the golden rule, and will more often than not get you out of a tight jam in an exam situation if you're trying to figure out, okay, I have to put in the bar line, or I'm trying to move this from simple time into compound time. How do I do it? If you understand how everything is grouped and beamed together according to the beat, you should be okay. Should be. There's exceptions to these things, but most of the time you'll be all right. So if you're in 2/4, 3/4, or 4/4, one beat, as you now know, is worth a crotchet or a quarter note, if you want to think of it that way. So any combination of semiquavers, quavers, even demi-semiquavers, or hemi-demi-semiquavers, if you want to go that far, any combination of notes that adds up to a crotchet can be beamed together. Now, I've written out just all the ones that, the most popular. These are by far the most popular rhythms that you'll come across. And I reckon, as I say, if you were to take out all of these rhythms out of all music known to mankind, you'd probably be left with a slither of 1 or 2 pieces of music. Nearly every piece of music ever written from any period of history in any style uses these rhythms, these little codes, these little units. Think of it like code or like tags, HTML tags or something, or think of it like, little units that you're going to be using all the time, little ingredients. Okay. They never really change, and just how many of them do you use in what order, that's all. I've known pieces like polkas use almost exclusively just crotchets themselves for each beat, and quavers. Maybe the odd little dotted rhythm, maybe the odd little Scotch snap, where it's the reverse of the dotted rhythm. That's the Scotch snap, by the way. Da-dum, 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 bum, ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. So that's the dotted rhythm next door. Dum, da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. And that's the dotted rhythm. Dum, da-dum, da-dum. And that's the Scotch snap. Da-dum, 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 da-dum. And yeah, you can take that first note and split it into 2 semiquavers, and have the last note remain a quaver, or 2/16 and an 1/8 note, or the reverse. Take the first one and keep it as it is. Take the second one and split it into 2. Split the first one into half, and then take the other half and add it to the middle of the next one, and then add the other bit. So that's a wee bit like a syncopated rhythm. That one, dum dum ba bum ba bum ba 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. So it's ba, 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 ba. You need to start on that at the beginning of each click. Da 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 ba 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 ba. One and one and one and one E and a one E and a one E and a one and a one and a one and a one E and one and a one and a da dum 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 da dum 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 dum. So I just went through all of them there. And the triplet is the last one as well. 3 played in the time of 2. Anytime you see that in music, guys, a triplet just means 3 of whatever it's above. In this case, quavers. 3 quavers played in the time of 2 quavers. And we saw that when I was telling you guys earlier. Can you do 2 beats in one hand and 3 in the other at the same time? Yeah, if students think that that's a wee bit unusual to hear it phrased that way, 3 somethings in the time of 2 somethings. But really, if you were to do that exercise we were talking about earlier, of like 2 clicks for one hand and at the same time do 3 in the other, so it's 1 da da dum dum. That's the rhythm you want. Bum ba ba bum bum ba ba bum. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2. If you can do that without having to think about it too much, then the concept of 3 in this time of 2 is not that hard, especially for drummers, as I said. And you can substitute any of those notes for rests, any of them. So here we have 2 crotchets. Let's make sure you guys can see that. Yeah, 2 quavers, 2 eighth notes, and you can take one of them and make them a rest, or you could turn it the other way around. You could have had the rest first, then the note second. So not only can you have, these are the most popular combinations, but all of them can be with or without rests. And that opens up basically quite a lot of possibilities just using those rhythms that you see on the page right now. You could write everything from symphonies to concertos to trad tunes, reels to complicated jazz, bebop to, any sort of R&B music style that you like, to any sort of style. Could just use what you see there. You don't need to get any more complicated than that. So if you were to learn those rhythms, those little units as self-contained units, and repeat them over and over and over again, your rhythmical abilities and being able to sight read them as well will dramatically improve. And I always recommend my students, especially my piano students, to do that, because they could be doing 2 different rhythms simultaneously, one in one hand, one in the other. Or if they're playing like a 4-part fugue, there's not many who do, but they could be playing like 4 different rhythms at the same time. So being able to sight read those rhythms and get them instantly without having to think about it is really important. There's little side rules or little sub rules to all this about, well, you can actually, anything that could have been replaced by a minim, you can group them even further. So 2 quavers can be grouped together like this. So that's an extra little thing for quavers. You can have 4 of them all together. Also, for 4 somethings in a bar, you're never allowed to beam across the middle of a 4-beat bar, ever. So this is wrong. You cannot beam across the middle of a 4-beat bar. And you can't even put a rest, silence, in the middle of a 4-beat bar. So you have to be able to see where the middle part is for every single 4-beat bar. So it's a little extra rule. There's little rules for 3/4 and 3/8. And also little rules about silences in music. Again, every full silent beat gets a rest. So you shouldn't really see dotted notes, or dotted rests, I should say. You shouldn't really see dotted rests in simple time. Complete opposite of all this for compound time. If your silence, or your rest doesn't add up to a full beat, every subdivision gets a rest. So, for example, this semiquaver needs a semiquaver rest next to it, or this 16th note needs another 16th rest next to it to make it add up to an 8th, okay, a quaver. And then another quaver, another 8th note needs to be there, so those 2 will add up together to get us a crotchet. And then, of course, there's a crotchet in there already. So every subdivision needs to, be present. So if you're ever using notes that are like worth very, very little, like 16th notes or semiquavers, or 32nd notes like demi-semiquavers, you need to start thinking then, okay, subdivide it all the way up for rests. So even for some bars where you've only just got like the one note, just one note in this 4/4 bar, it requires 4 different rests to get that up to a full bar. So let's take our time through it. semiquaver note, you're going to need a semiquaver rest, or the 16th note, you're going to need a 16th rest. Both of those added together get you an 8th note, or a quaver. That's our first level. Then you go up the next level. Okay, now we need a quaver plus a quaver. Those two together will get us a crotchet. Now you need the next level up. A crotchet rest plus the crotchet rest will get us half the bar. And we're not allowed to put a rest down the middle of the bar. So the next part then, you could have a minim, which is 2 crotchet, or a half note, which is worth 2 quarter notes, or a half rest, which is worth 2 quarter rests. That's going to take up the other half of the bar. Okay, just like you can have 4 quavers that are equal to a minim, you can have a minim rest taking up half the bar as well. Okay, so there's 3 different rests: semiquavers, quavers, crotchets, and minims, or 16th, 8ths, quarters, and halves, that are needed just because you want to play one little semiquaver at the start of this bar. So that's where it gets difficult for students, is because they forget about the subdivisions. But if you just remember, subdivide your way up, work your way up through, from, well, in this case, it's going to be from 16th notes up to 8th notes, up to quarter notes, up to half. And then once you've got that all taken care of, you should be up to a full bar by then. Okay. Yeah, that's simple time. Compound time, guys, exactly the same. So it may look different, but same rules apply. Exactly the same rules apply. So anything, whoops, if I just make this bigger, there we go. Anything that adds up to a full beat can be beamed. So in 6/8, 9/8, and 12/8, I've just taken the most popular compound time signatures here. So this could be applied to any compound time. Anything with 6, 9, or 12, remember, is compound time. So as long as it adds up to 1 beat, in this case, in those time signatures, 1 beat is a dotted crotchet. So you could have, 6 semiquavers. You could have 12 demi-semiquavers. When you get into the demi-semiquaver territory, they do tend to have a little bit of a break between the first or the second and third beams, and only the top line is required to beam everything together. So when it gets a little bit complicated, for example, imagine seeing this. If I just, let me see. Oh, I didn't know that actually could go in there. That's brilliant. Let's remember that. So if I was to draw, another beam between those two guys, and then just do this all the way along, and then all the way along. Imagine that beam at the top is connecting these two guys together. That would be 8 demi-semiquavers and another 8 demi-semiquavers. Okay, which when you take that up together, that's quite a lot. So it's really 16 demi-semiquavers, which is equal to 8 semiquavers, which is equal to 4. And you keep going back. Sorry, not saying 8. What am I saying? You're talking about 6, another 6, and another 6. So it gets a little bit complicated when you start going into the demi-semiquaver territory. If I were you guys, I would really only worry about going as far as, especially for trad music, 6/8 and 9/8. Slides, even though they are 12/8, I tend to just think of them as like 2 bars of 6/8. It's not really much difference in how they sound rhythmically. How they look is very different, on the page, because it looks like there's a lot going on in one bar. But really, it's hard to sort of tell the difference between, as I said before, between like something like a slip jig or a slide. A single jig and a slide. So unless you guys are, really determined to hear like the difference between a single jig and a slide, I wouldn't really worry about sort of analyzing the 12/8 ones too much. Doesn't need to go that far. 6/8 and 9/8 will have more than cover the vast majority of compound time signatures that you're going to be looking at. Now, for you guys who are doing grade 5 theory, yes, you definitely need to go into 12/8 territory a heck of a lot more, and even beyond. into 12/16s as well. So you do need to sort of know all the different types of compound time signatures. But the golden rule applies throughout all of them. If it can be added up to one beat, like all your combination of semiquavers and demi-semiquavers and quavers, as long as it adds up to one full beat, whatever that beat is, then you can beam it together. So dotted crotchets, in other words, for this, for 6/8, 9/8, and 12/8, your dotted crotchets, there's so many combinations, as you can see. And you can even have rests, as you can see, within the beat as well, or at the end or the beginning of the beat. So if it is it at the end here, or is it the beginning here? Okay, so there's so many combinations. But the one thing they all have in common is they all add up to a dotted crotchet. That's all. That's it. Couple of more wee things about, you know, use of full notes inside of these. I'm not going to go through that with you guys because that's more for sort of my grade 5 theory students. It's quite a awkward little rule to remember, especially for 9/8. There's no note that takes up a full bar in 9/8. But yeah, if you're interested, let me know. We can go through that another time. But that's really just for my grade 5 theory students. Same rule applies for 4 beats in the bar. Now remember, 4 beats in the bar in compound time is something with 12 at the top. So 12/8, you cannot beam across the middle of a 12/8 bar. You can see it here, that would be wrong, and you can't put rests in there either. So this is exactly the same rule for 4/4 as it is for 12/8. Anything with 4 beats, 4 crotchet beats or 4 dotted crotchet beats, doesn't matter. Or to use the American terms, 4 quarter notes or 4/8 or 4 dotted quarter notes. Yeah, so that's a bit tricky to say that. So yeah, the same rule applies. So that's no different. Try to avoid using isolated notes. Yeah, that looks more like 3/4 rather than 6/8. Students will always mix up 6/8 and 3/4, even though they're not related at all. 6/8, its equivalent, as we saw earlier, was 2/4, not 3/4. So 6/8 has 2 beats in the bar. 2/4 has obviously 2 beats in the bar. This looks more like a beat or a bar of 3/4, even though technically speaking, this is going to sound exactly the same as this. You never write it like that if you want it to be in 6/8. You've got to be able to see where does each beat begin and end. Even if there's a tie involved where you don't get to hear it, you need to be able to see it. Okay, so you need to see where does each beat begin and end. Okay, and if you wrote it like that, you would say, okay, well, the first beat begins in there, but it also ends in there, and the second beat begins in there as well, and ends over here. That's not good. That's 3/4. Fine, and that's okay in 3/4 if you're looking for 3 beats in the bar, but we were only looking for 2. To be careful that you don't leave, you know, isolated notes hanging. Everything needs to add up to a full bar. Okay, let me see if I can just undo that. There we go. Same as your simple time, every full silent beat gets a rest. So lots of dotted rests. Unlike simple time signatures or a simple time, you weren't having many dotted notes or dotted rests in simple time. In compound time, you're going to get lots of dotted rests because that adds up to a full beat. So if you want one full silent beat in 6/8, you're going to use a dotted crotchet rest. You shouldn't see that in 2/4 or in 4/4, 3/4, or anything like that. You should see only dotted rests in compound time. There's exceptions to some of these guys, but that tends to be the norm. Okay. And the same thing for if a full silence is not a full beat, then every subdivision gets a rest. So the same rule applies again. If you have a silence that lasts less than a beat, you need to start adding other rests together to get up to the next level, and then add that with the surrounding notes to get up to the next level, and so on and so on and so on. So in 6/8, for example, we are looking for 2 dotted crotchets or 2 dotted quarter notes per bar. I'm just going to draw them in so you can see where each beat begins. And it's actually the second beat here that we're going to look at. So here you can see a semiquaver or a 16th note. Right, how do we, if we want the rest of this to be silent, then we need to add a semiquaver rest in there next to that. So that now adds up to a quaver. That's what one of these wee brackets means. And we've got 2 other quavers here as well. And then, of course, the 3 of those quavers added up together gets us our full dotted crotchet beat. So remember, for subdivisions, you're still adding semi-quavers and quavers and other surrounding notes together to go up through the levels until you get to your full beat. Once you get to your full beat, that's it. You can stop. Okay, so that's a good example of what you see there of a really sort of complicated rhythm. You're probably not going to come across anything like this in real life music, guys. This is very disjointed and very off the beat sort of sounds that you have here. But theoretically, it's possible. And for you grade 5 guys, you need to be able to do that. You need to be able to, write that out properly and put in the correct note groupings. You might need to be able to write it out. Actually, that's a mistake because all the exams are now done online. You just need to be able to recognize what is written correctly and what isn't. So it's like a box ticking exercise now. So you need to be able to see what looks well and what doesn't look well. Remember, guys, when it comes to note grouping, it is important to get it right because it is the equivalent in music, what we do in language, in separating words out from each other. To have that gap, that space in between the words makes it easier to read. Exactly the same could be said for music that has the correct note grouping and the correct use of rests. Makes it easier for the performer to read. And we all need to agree to a standard. Otherwise, if everyone does their own thing, then if whatever a composer is writing for one musician, they'd have to change it for another musician. That just makes everyone's life really complicated. So we need to agree on a standard that everyone can follow to make life easy for everybody to learn the correct way of doing it. So it's the same in language as well. Same rules. Even the things like, we talk about musical phrasing, question and answer, or musical sentence, punctuation, like cadences in music. All those things are in language as well. We use that when we talk about language. So it's very closely related. Music theory is sort of it is the equivalent to music, what writing is to a language. So there's a lot of rules to follow, I suppose. Okay, so I think we got through everything. Oof, I was trying to get that into an hour and a half. And I think we just about managed it. Okay, let me see if I can just mute myself if I played that. What happens if I just refresh that page for a second? There we go. Okie doke. Great stuff. Radio, I think we got through it all. Happy days. Radio. So yeah, if there's any questions that you guys have for me as well, feel free to leave them in the comments section as well. And also you can visit the community. Also, guys, you should check out what's going on the website at the moment. I've done a heck of a lot of updates over the last few days. Let me see if I can just show you guys what it looks like now. So I've completely changed the color scheme and the use of everything's like a darker color now, as well as being able to put in better thumbnails and things. So yeah, hopefully that's going to make sense to you guys. When you go in, you'll be able to see your courses still. So nothing's changed in the courses themselves, the way they're laid out structurally and the content and everything. It's just the look is a wee bit more professional as well. Okay, so if you go to the comments section, I actually should have done this today. I forgot, just reminded me. I have to remember to post the comment section when there's blogs and everything ready for everybody. Let me just go into the community just to show you. It's been a while since I've posted, actually. That's bad that I didn't do that today. Oh, sorry. Try that again. Oh, let me refresh the page. I think wonder if you guys have this. I know some of you guys who are in my community were saying, yeah, it is a wee bit buggy when you're trying to get in. Sometimes it can, take a while just to load. Okay. There we go. It's just taking a wee second. Our community. This is a public community, guys, so anyone can join. Okay, so you don't see my private communities, but anyone can join the public community. Yeah, and oh goodness, okay, that's a while ago. Well, it was 2 days ago. That was the last thing I posted there, just chords and music. That was only 2 days ago. There's about 4 new blogs since then. So yeah, there's going to be quite a few new things that go up into this, and there's also freebies that you can download here. I'm going to start adding some music theory things there, and some other things, handouts and other stuff that are going to go in there. Okay, so you can only get those. You can only get these like if you're part of the community. So yeah, just come along and just you won't see any of this when you try to come into the community itself, but it'll ask you just to join, give yourself a name, and away you go. Okay, so just go back home for a sec. Okay, let's see. I'll scroll down here for a wee second. Yeah, that was the one that I did last night, which is fun. That was real fun. That was on St. Patrick's Day. I was trying to learn a tune, or relearn a tune that I had previously learnt completely wrong. I learned it starting a bar later, and also the completely wrong sort of combination of notes in some bars. So I know there's like variations in a tune, but that was a wee bit ridiculous of how out I was, and I have been playing that tune the wrong way for years. Nobody told me. Or maybe it worked, if I just came in a bar later and then just kept on playing a bar after everybody had stopped, or everybody had moved into a new tune. Maybe that was the thing that was covering it every time, is that I kept playing more when everyone had moved somewhere else. And then thinking, why am I out? Okay, forget it. We're into the next tune. So yeah, that's worth checking out, that video, because what do you do? How do you correct yourself? What's some good tips and tricks and practice ideas to relearn a tune, or at least figure out where you've gone wrong? So it's one of the things, guys, that I tend not to like too much about online teaching, is that, especially when you're looking at things like courses or YouTube, where there is a success bias, that nearly everything you see is when people are doing really well. You see it all the time with videos on YouTube of people saying, this is what you've got to do. If you do this, you'll get what this and this. This worked for me. This is perfect. Buy this, and worked perfectly for me. It's very rare you see anyone post a video. No one's going to be bothered making a video and posting it online of when they failed, or when something didn't work out. So I did. So that's what that video is. I posted that yesterday. The Angler's Rock, great jig, by the way. Vincent Broderick tune, well-known flute player and piper, I think from Galway, but he travelled all over, and he was heavily involved in the music scene in Dublin as well, and the Pre-B Uillinn NPU, the Uillinn Pipe Society there. So yeah, great tune named after him as well. I think he wrote it, but I completely butchered it. So it's worth checking out just for the crack, that I do get it wrong a lot of the times as well. Okay, we shall leave it there, guys, and yeah, we'll get stuck back into more of the trad stuff for come practice with me, or practice with me. That's going to be on every single Tuesday, guys, at 6:15. Okay, practice with me. And this is what we're doing right now, which is Ask Me Anything. So this tonight was just me answering a question that one of my students had about time signatures. Okay. So hopefully that answers it, by the way. If it doesn't, I'm not going to say who it is, but if it doesn't answer your query, do let me know. Send me another email just to let me know. If there's anything you want me to go over. I'm hoping that I took the opportunity to take a good hour and a half for this streaming, and hopefully this has answered that question finally, especially for the compound time. Okie doke. Radio. So we'll leave it there, guys. See you next time.